Welcome to the Austin Behind the Creative Scenes podcast, where we explore how creative individuals already in the industry made it, are making it, or even got out of it. Their everyday actions could be the things you are struggling with as a performing artist. I'm Austin, your host, and together we'll embark on a journey to discover a little bit more about the real life behind the creative scenes. Join us as we delve into inspiring stories, expert insights, and practical tips from people who have been there, done that, and learned from it. Whether you're a seasoned pro or you're just starting your journey, this podcast is for you. So let's dive in and explore the world of the entertainment industry, one series at a time. This podcast is sponsored by the award-winning Mortgages for Actors, the financial services for you and your family. Visit the website to find out more. So I'm here with Josh today. Josh, tell us who you are, what you do.
Cool. Nice to meet you, man. My name is Josh. I run a music studio called Peace Productions, as well as being a live sound engineer, PA hire company, recording engineer, and mix and mastering engineer.
Nice. So what I always like to say as well is, what would your parents say you do?
Music. Yeah.
Do music.
Yeah.
That's all right. So how's it been going? How's everything going for you?
Yeah, really well, thank you. The studio has been open since May last year, May 2022.
Mm-hmm.
We are currently now in profit in terms of like the business goes.
It's good.
It was a bit of a tough year, and it's actually very unusual for a brand new business, to be in profit after a year.
It is.
But fortunately, I had a large background of doing sort of music work.
Yeah.
I've got 10 years experience as a live sound engineer, recording engineer. So when I opened, I already had a network of people around me, bands that I knew that would be coming in to rehearse. So very luckily, after the 9-10 month mark, we were breaking even, which was really nice.
Really good.
And we're nice and busy now. Live sound wise, I'm out almost every night.
Yeah.
Running down in different venues.
Yeah, I mean, we've walked around the studio. It's really nice. It's big. It's got several rooms, so you get a lot done in one day, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got 3 rooms here, one of which is a rehearsal room that doubles up as the live room for recording, as well as having the vocal booth in, and the other 2 are rehearsal rooms. So you can pack it out in 4-hour sessions 2 or 3 times a day, which is quite nice.
That's really good.
That doesn't normally happen at the moment. We normally get 1 in.
Yeah.
As you know, rehearsals are normally for the evening.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you can if the call was there for it, it's definitely, you could easily pack it out.
That's good, and it's high quality as well. So it's something that somewhere that people want to come to rather than just like have to come to.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Nice.
That's the idea I had when I built the place. Was to have it as state of the art as I possibly could within my means. And we spent a lot of money researching, as well as buying the right materials and getting the right people in to build the studio.
Yeah.
We've got I don't know how technical you want me to go.
You go as technical as you want. This is your show.
We built the rooms with sound block acoustic plasterboard, either side of a stud wall, and in the middle of that stud wall we have 50mm rock wall insulation, and then on the insides of the rooms is all carpeted walls as well.
And this lovely foam you've got as well.
Yeah, acoustic foam in the control room, just to absorb a little bit of that sort of reverberation and some of the frequencies you don't want when you're mixing or mastering. But yeah, it's sound insulated really well, and the building itself was sound insulated back in the early noughties for a big woodworking company factory.
Oh, perfect.
So with the building as well as the rooms themselves, when you've got 3 bands rehearsing at a sort of a 84 dB sort of max level, maybe 85, 86.
Yeah.
You really can't hear anything from outdoors.
That's great.
Which is really nice, especially for some of the residents. There's a little housing estate over there and a little building across the way that, you really just can't hear anything at all, which is great. We can,
No, it's awesome. I mean, I personally would love to live next to some sort of music venue, but there are a lot of people out there that don't, and they complain about the fact they bought a house next to a pub.
Yeah, you do. You get that quite a lot. I know a lot of music venues, unfortunately, that have had court cases or even been shut down because people buy a property next to what, a music venue which is going to be loud, and then complain about it. I just don't understand that.
It's insane, but it happens a lot, unfortunately.
It does, it's sad.
So it's good that you've got this all set up for both ways, because it's nice to know you're here and you're going to stay here now.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's something that I put a lot of thought into when I was looking for a premises, and when I was planning on the building of it. Like, as much as I love music and it's my passion, as well as a load of other people out there, people that use a studio, it isn't everyone's passion. So you do have to be considerate of neighbouring properties and residents and things like that, which I believe I've done to the best of my knowledge and ability.
Yeah, it's a really nice venue, really nice.
Thank you.
I was going to say, a lot of this podcast is about how to build up to be where you want to be now.
Yep.
How to start and get going. There might be someone out there that's desperate to start and they really want to do this, but they don't know where to start. They don't know what to buy, what to do, or anything like that. Yeah. So what would be your main tip for getting started? Or tips?
Yeah, I think there probably have to be a few. Yeah. Number one is don't give up. It's really tough starting your own business. There he goes. Got it on his arm. Yeah, it's something that it will weigh you down, and it is really, really easy to pack it in when it gets really tough. And believe me, it's been really, really tough. I've gone through some proper hardships trying to get this place going. Yeah. Points where I've thought, you know what, is it even worth it?
Now. Yeah.
Let's just give up and carry on just doing bits on the side and get a quote unquote normal job.
Yeah.
But if it's something you really care about, like this is to me, I couldn't do anything apart from sound and music.
This is your passion, isn't it?
It is absolutely my passion, and there's no way that I could. And you know, no offense to the people that do have 9-to-5 jobs and stuff like that. If that works for you, then that's great. But it's just something I couldn't do.
It's lifestyle, isn't it? Some people that suits them, some people it doesn't.
Absolutely, man. And it's just not the way I'm wired. Yeah. So my number one tip is just don't give up. Drive on through. And you know, if you burn out and crash and burn, and go out in a blaze of glory, then so be it.
I feel like we're quoting 100 songs here.
Yeah, man, all the Bon Jovi hits, right?
Yeah, there we go.
Another tip is planning and organisation.
Yeah,
you're never going to run a successful business if you're not planning. I wrote a comprehensive business plan before I even thought about looking for a premises. You have to scope out what your target market is, scope out who your competition's going to be, and research. I mean, there's so many things I can. I mean, in the footnotes of the podcast, I can give you some links to some websites that I use that give you a nice template for a business plan, which is what I use.
Perfect.
Which sort of sets out exactly what you need, and you just need to fill in the blanks, basically. Okay. It's a little bit more intensive than just filling in blanks. You have to do a lot of research and put a lot of information in, but it tells you what you need. So all you need to do is go out and do that research, and that's exactly what I did. I went out, I did the research.
It's putting the time in, isn't it? Putting the time and thought into it.
100%. Yeah, it's you have to put time in and plan and be organised. If you're not organised, if you haven't got a diary with what you're doing and when, it's going to fall apart. Trust me. I've got ADHD myself, so I know that without a planner and a diary, I'd be all over the place, and then I would get so overwhelmed and anxious that I just have to lay in bed all day. Yeah, exactly. Absolutely, man. Yeah. Planning, organisation, and maybe a final tip is just make sure you've got the knowledge you need to succeed in your field.
Yeah.
I spent a lot of time learning and being very humble. Like when I started out as an engineer, I wasn't great. I had to learn on the fly.
You worked on it.
And you just work on it, and your ability to and the willingness to listen to others who have had more experience than you, listen to other people's knowledge, even if those people haven't had more experience than you, like listening to other people's knowledge. And then going away and researching based on that knowledge, it can really give you that cutting edge in the industry. Just taking a little bit from everywhere and just willingness to learn and absorb, and not get a lot of people. And I've met a lot of engineers that get caught up in what they know and think that's the be all and end all.
Yeah, it's not just this industry that happens either.
No, I mean, I can guarantee it happens in all of them. But the willingness to be humble, to be open, to learn will definitely get you to that next stage, and that will set you above the competition. So those three things is, the planning.
So build yourself.
Build yourself.
Build a plan.
Build a plan.
Build a room.
Build a room. There we go.
There you go.
That's good.
Sorted.
I might get that tattooed on me.
Why not? Put my name under it. But no, I mean, it's amazing. But I mean, what inspired you to think, I'm not just going to work for someone, I'm going to be the business?
Probably getting sacked from every employer I've had.
Well, that would do it.
Not to say I don't work well with others. I work great with other people. It's just when you're working for someone, and I've worked for a lot of people that will. How do I put this sort of amicably?
Bring you down.
Yeah. It's a lot of. See, because I'm a creative person and I work in a creative industry, I've tried to get jobs in creative industries.
Which is difficult.
It is difficult, especially under an employer that has a vision and just wants somebody to sort of follow their lead, I guess.
Yeah.
That's one of the most difficult things in a creative industry, is to work under someone when you're a creative and you're not getting the opportunity to express yourself and put forward your ideas.
It's not open enough, is it?
Exactly. Yeah. And I've done a lot of that. And you know, you have the interviews and they say, yeah, we love brand new ideas. We really want to work with people, not have people work for us, blah, blah, blah. And it comes down to it, and you put forward an idea that you think is going to work, and maybe it's worked in another instance for you, and you think, well, this is definitely, you know, it's something that could definitely be implemented. Yeah. And all you get is, that's not the way we do things. We want you to do things our way, and then it brings you down. It makes you depressed. I've been in so many mental health slumps from jobs where I believed I was going to be given sort of, what would you call it, creative control, freedom. Yeah. And you don't get that. And it just makes you down. And then I either end up leaving, or I end up trying to fight my case, and they see that as somebody who is sort of obstructive, and they get rid of you. Yeah. So that's why I decided that I've just got to do this myself, because I've worked in recording studios. I've worked as event planners, event management for venues, rehearsal rooms, and I just needed to sort of do it my own way and show that these ideas that I've had can be successful and are going to work. Yeah. And sort of in a nicest way prove those people wrong.
It's good.
The people that doubted my ideas, the people that said that the things I'm thinking aren't going to happen. Well, I'm now implementing those ideas, and it's working. And
it's working. So in their face.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's why I needed to do it. Yeah. And also because at least I'm in control of what I do. Then. Yeah. I can earn my own money. I don't need to earn money and give a percentage of it to somebody else.
Yeah. Except the tax man.
Yeah, except the tax man. Yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah, as much as we try and we won't go into that.
I mean, you can as well, like I said earlier, being self-employed, you can structure your day differently than what works for you.
Absolutely.
I mean, you might be much more creative in the evening than you are in the morning, but if you're forced to get up at 8 o'clock every morning, you're going to go to work and not be as good as you could be.
Dude, absolutely. 100% there. I feel like I'm better sort of in the afternoons and nights. Yeah. And I don't know whether that's because that's the way my sleep pattern has structured itself. Now I do this industry.
Could be.
But I don't think, I've never been a morning person thinking back to it. I've never wanted to. I used to have to get up for early starts, and the amount of times when I was young and my parents used to have to drag me out of bed to try and get to school on time, to get to, even like when I was young, to get to college on time, to get to work on time. Like
it's just you.
That's just the way I am. If I can get up at if I can wake up at 9, have some breakfast at 9:30, 10, and then go to work in the studio and work up until sort of 10, 11 at night, or sometimes even getting home at 1, 2 in the morning from live sound gigs. I'm just much better that way. So it is much nicer to be able to structure my own days to an extent. As we said earlier, sort of off the podcast, it's not me that dictates my hours, it is my clients. Yeah. But luckily I've chosen an industry in which clients tend to work in the same hours that I'm good at. Yeah.
Well, that's cool. I mean, I know this is jumping subject a little bit, but what is your base kit? What would you say if I came to you today and I said, look, I want to start doing this. I've got a studio, I've got everything I need, but I don't know what to do to start. What kit do I buy to get going?
Okay, that's a really good question. So I started off with using, when I was first out as a live sound tech, I was using quite a cheap budget PA system just because that's what I could afford at the time.
Yeah, fair enough.
But it's the setting you use those things in which helps you succeed. So I'd use that in a small pub gig for acoustic bands, or for a pub band that I wouldn't run, say, the guitars through the PA. You'd have the guitars set at stage level, and you'd run the vocals and the kick drum through the PA. Yeah. So that's how I started out. It was just a cheap budget PA from Gear 4 Music. Gear 4 Music are brilliant. They do all sorts of stuff from your budget to your top end range. And I now I've bought so much stuff off there over the last sort of 5-6 years that I'm now a VIP member.
Oh, hey.
So I get a nice little discount now.
Oh, wicked.
A little plug for Gear 4 there, not that they need it.
No. It's a freebie, that one.
Yeah, they can have that one. If you want to sponsor me, then, reach out. Yeah, so equipment wise, so if you're just starting out, a small budget PA system will do the job nicely. You'll need a ton of XLR cables, a few jack to jack cables like guitar cables, TRS. You'd need some microphones. The standard microphone for this industry is what we're using right now. This is the Shure SM58. You can use it mainly for vocals. Well, it's a vocal mic, yeah. And then you probably want to get yourself a couple of Shure SM57s, which are they're really good for instruments. So you can put them on a guitar, you can put them in a kick drum if you need to, put them on a snare drum, use them for everything. Once you've done that, a few mic stands and a mixing desk. I started off with I think it was a Yamaha MGX, just a sort of a 10-channel analog mixer, but it did the job for what I needed. Yeah. And from there, you can go out, and the way I did it was go to my local pub and say, I want to put on some music. How would you like to do it? Would you like me to take a cut of the bar at the end, or would you like to give me a budget in which you can do that? And I'd book the bands. I'd then run the sound, and we'd take a cut at the end, and then I'd pay the bands and take a little bit for myself. And from then on, I just grew. You grow.
I mean, you don't go in and buy everything at once, do you? Because it
depends how rich you are, man. But then it's all the gear and no idea. So it is. I'd say if you've got the money to do it, still start off at the small end. And learn
and build.
Learn the equipment. There's no better way to get into doing stuff in this industry than learning on some like poor quality equipment. Because you cut your teeth. The first job I had was a small music venue in Chelmsford called Asylum, and I loved that place. It was. Did you go there?
I've been there.
Oh, mate, it was the best. It was just the atmosphere there. It was like a little family of people, and it was a small venue, maybe 100, 150 cap. And the equipment was all right, but it was old. And it wasn't digital. It was all analog stuff.
Right.
So learning to sound tech in a room that had plastic corrugated ceiling, so all your high end is going everywhere, and it's just hard to control. And learning on equipment that's quite restrictive can really help you hone your skills as a sound tech.
Deep end, isn't it? Straight in.
Yeah, it absolutely was. I mean, I totally blagged it. They said we need a sound tech. I'm a qualified sound engineer. I've got loads of experience. Literally fresh out of college. I've done a couple of things in the hall at college on a little desk. Jumped right in. Had a little shadowing session with their house tech, and you just, that's where the learning thing comes in. I went away and I YouTubed a load of stuff, how to cut out feedback, and things like that, and how to best deal with X and Y, and what can this desk do and stuff like that. And I really learned to be a better tech doing that. And then when I moved on to digital equipment, I had such a good understanding of how things work on the base level that I could just jump in, and then it was basically a nice big toy for me to play with.
It was.
So in terms of equipment, the basic things, so your microphones, your cables, your mixing desk and your PA system, but you don't need to start off big. You don't need to go out spending thousands of pounds. You can spend a couple of £100 and have a decent amount of stuff to go out and do a small show.
That's good to know.
And just build from there.
I mean, like a £200 budget to start a business is amazing. I mean, you look at some of the really big, I'm trying to think of some off the top of my head now. You think of any sort of business, Tesco even, they wouldn't have been able to start on less than like £1 million, would they?
No.
I mean, it's incredible to be able to say for £200 we can start a business here. And build on it and build on it and build on it until it's a great big thing that it is now.
I've never, I've never even thought that way. It's just nice to reflect actually that I started, how long ago? It's 10 years ago I started doing that sort of stuff. And that's actually quite nice to hear, man.
It's £200.
I started on a couple of £100 and now I've got my own studio.
Cool.
That's really nice. Thank you for that.
Well, one of my questions was going to be, if I gave you 10 million today and told you you've got to spend it now, what would you do with it?
Oh, it's going to be boring.
Just disclaimer, I haven't got 10 million pounds.
Oh, okay.
Do not hold
Do I
me
have to
this.
answer it then? It's just a hypothetical. That's a really tough question. 10 million is a lot of money.
It is. It's basically no limit, is there?
No, I could just, well, I mean, I could just retire and live off that.
You could.
Or
would you want to?
Or having said to you earlier, I've got a daughter on the way now.
Yep.
I would like to set her future up for her.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I don't want her to work. I want her to work.
But what would that be? To upgrade here, or to downgrade here and move somewhere else, or even to start other businesses?
It's endless the things I could do. I'd upgrade the business here.
Yep.
I'd get more. I'd probably upgrade everything to a sort of a standardized equipment.
Yeah.
So I've got sort of different PA systems in each room and stuff like that. I'd probably get a new PA system in each room. I'd buy a new mixing desk. I've just been looking at the Allen and Heath SQ edition desks, which are just incredible. They're the next step up from what I'm running, which is the QU editions.
Yeah.
I'd definitely buy one of those. I'd keep hold of this if I had 10 million. Why not?
Of course, yeah.
I'd probably buy a music venue
That'd be nice.
set up a music venue.
Yeah.
In which then I could pay myself to live sound engineering.
Of course.
But the country is lacking in music venues at the moment.
Yeah.
In Colchester, there's some great ones, and locally in East Anglia as well, there's a lot of fantastic venues, but a lot are getting shut down all the time. So I'd find an area that's lacking in a music venue and probably open one.
Yeah.
I'd probably invest in property.
Mm-hmm.
That's, it's kind of a guaranteed money maker.
Yeah.
And what I would do though is I'd buy properties, say flats and things, and I'd rent them out. I'd undercut the current market, because a lot of private property owners really take the piss. Am I allowed to swear on the?
You can swear all you like.
Yeah, they take the piss. They charge you extortionate amounts for something that isn't worth the money they're charging. So I'd probably buy properties, and while it's all a cash purchase, I wouldn't have a mortgage to pay off. Yeah. Therefore, I could probably afford to lower the price a little bit, and maybe that'd piss off a lot of the private owners, or it might, if enough people started doing it, I might be able to start a movement, man, and just drop the price of the private renting, because for people, young people, I mean, for any people that are renting, it's extortionate at the moment.
It is.
So that could help, and then I'd probably just buy a nice house for my family. Mm-hmm. I'd sort all of my family members out with to pay them back, because I've had a lot of support from my family over the years.
That's good.
And I just want to give something back to them and the people that have helped me out. All my friends that have just supported me through when I haven't had any money, and they've helped me out.
Yep.
And not even when I haven't had any money. It's things like, right, I haven't got much dough, so what do you want to do this weekend? Well, it's cool, man. Like, you haven't got a lot, so we'll come round and hang out rather than going out or something like that, including me and things like that. So I'd give back to the people that have supported me my whole life, and when I've been in an industry that, you're not going to be minted unless you're right at the top.
No.
So people that have supported me through all of that, really.
Yeah, no, that's good.
And then giving all the local bands an opportunity as well. So once again, in the venue that I've said about, I'd give all the local bands that have supported me an opportunity to play and make something of themselves, give them a platform. So I'll probably still have about 6 million quid left after all that, wouldn't I?
Yeah, we'd buy a few Lamborghinis or something.
Yeah, I'm not really a fast car sort of guy. I get a bit scared.
Morris Minus then.
Yeah, that'll do, man. That'll do. A nice, I think, you know what? A nice tour bus.
A tour bus,
nice tour bus.
Yeah.
That then I could take bands on tour.
Brad Paisley style, like 50 buses long, or just one?
I think just the one.
Just the one?
Yeah, man.
Don't want to take all your kit with you then.
Nah, I think the one with a bit of storage space with a PA underneath, and then a couple of bedrooms in there, a little bar.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. Hire a driver.
Yeah. You could even get a Metallica 2 plane, couldn't you?
Absolutely.
You could get a Metallica written down the side with 2.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I like that.
Cool,
yeah. Or I could buy a plane and call it Flight 667.
Why not? And well, I mean, it just goes to show you're very humble. You give back a lot. I mean, most of what you just talked about then, I was going to give you £10 million, metaphorically, and you were going to spend it on other people. So that's pretty amazing, really.
Yeah, man. I don't need a lot of money to be happy. No. I just need to enjoy what I'm doing.
I think that's the big thing when you work with your own passion, because you're doing the work you love. You don't feel like you need a lot because you've got it already.
Yeah, I've got everything I need. Apart from that 10 million quid. But...
Me too. So talking about kit, what is your favourite bit?
Ooh, favourite bit of kit.
If someone said to you, you can only save one in a fire, what would you save?
One thing.
One thing. If you had to get one bit of kit, not your coffee cup.
Oh, man. That's such a hard question. So I've got a lot of stuff that's worth a lot of money, which I'd want to save. But I've also got a lot of stuff that I love using. Dude, that's so hard.
Split second thinking, it's on fire. Come on.
Mixing desk.
There you go. Sorry.
Allen Heath Q24 mixing desk. Because it's got all my show files on it.
It's the main thing that brings it all together, isn't it, at the end?
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I can run that through most PA systems and it sound good. But it's also got all my show files saved. So every band that I regularly engineer and every venue that I regularly engineer at, it's got all my settings pre-saved. So I can still roll into those venues and have everything set ready to go. Yeah. Do I get like a second thing? If I've run that downstairs really quickly, or there's someone, or you're here with me and we're on fire.
We'll both grab one. That's all right, I'll help you.
You can grab my iMac and my hard drives because that's got all my client files on it.
Right.
And I wouldn't want the lawsuits of all my clients messaging me going, "You've lost all our stuff."
No, fair enough. I will grab that for you and we'll go.
Awesome.
Who is your do you have I forgot what the word is now. Do you have a muse? Do you have someone you look up to in this business?
In terms of business in general, there's a couple of people that have, in terms of the music industry, let's go music industry first. Okay. And it'd be, I guess, any sort of, because I don't know many studio owners that are big names, you know. I know a few engineers that are really good, but in terms of people that have built up the way I have...
Well, someone that gives you inspiration, I guess.
So my all-time hero is Jacoby Shaddix from Papa Roach. Okay. He's like the guy I look up to. It's in terms of my because I perform as well. Yeah. In terms of my performance, like on stage, the energy, the sort of making sure that everyone watching you feels like a family. Yeah. And just interacting and just being humble and grateful and things like that. Like Jacoby's like my hero for that sort of stuff. Brilliant. And the drive that he's got. Like their second album flopped, and they're still going now. And that was back.
Was that the red cover one?
That was the red. Yeah, everyone knows that one.
Loves You Not or something.
That was it. Love, Hate, Tragedy. I think it was. Yeah, man. Like, and I don't mind that album. It's all right. But in terms of like the bigger scene, it didn't do well. And they came back with an all-time banger in the Paramore Sessions, which is probably my favourite album of theirs. Brilliant. So that's another thing where you just don't give up. Just carry on doing it. That's their passion. That's what they do.
And it worked for them.
And it worked. And now they're one of the biggest bands from that era, like still going today. Yeah. So that's somebody who really inspires me to just do what you love, but also to be humble and grateful for the things you've got. Yeah. And then in terms of like business-wise, a couple of people. So number one is my dad, who we lost in 2021.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that, mate. But he worked really hard his whole life to give my family something back, and to give us a good life. So that's a sort of the way I see how a dad, I guess, should be. Is now I'm going to have a daughter.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. It's not all about me and what I want anymore. Yeah. I'm still going to work in this industry because it's the only thing I can do.
Yeah. But you're not just building for yourself anymore, are you?
But I'm building for my family. Yeah, man. And I just want to give my family, so me and my wife Liz and Emily, who's on the way, and Bruce the cat. We've got to give a shout out to Bruce the cat. I want to be able to make sure that they are, not like we don't have to be rich, but just comfortable. and not have to worry about money.
Yeah, of course.
Like, it's been real tough, man, the last sort of few years, especially with COVID.
Yeah. That was a killer for a lot of businesses.
Oh man, like I opened afterwards.
Yeah.
The studio, that is, I was still working.
Yeah.
And I had like no work.
Oh, right.
And obviously being a freelancer,
it's tough. Yeah, really tough.
It's really hard. And since then, even before that, man, money's been a worry while I'm working in this industry, you know? So I just want to build it to the point where we don't have to worry about money anymore.
Yeah.
The amount of times that this is getting a little bit sort of deep and personal now, but the amount of times that me and Liz have had conversations about, I'm worried about money.
Yeah.
How do we budget this? How do we afford this? I just don't want to have that conversation anymore.
No, you just want to be comfortable.
Yeah, just be able to go, right, the bills have gone out.
Yeah.
You know, what do you want to do this month? Do you want to go out and do this or do that? It's not like, are we going to be able to afford X or Y? You know,
we can't go out this month because we've only just managed to pay the bills.
So that was the sort of the, I guess, the moral or the inspiration that my dad gave me is just, you do that for your family, man. Make sure they're happy, and then you will be happy knowing that they're comfortable and happy.
Absolutely.
And then in terms of business, one of my dad's closest friends, Andy Lynette, who is incredible. He's got an incredible business mind, and he was the guy that helped me start this business up.
Oh, right.
So we lost my dad before I started opening the studio.
Yeah.
I started the process of opening the studio. And Andy has been absolutely amazing to me. He's given me so much time, so much advice, and so much help so all the things, remember at the beginning when you asked me the 3 things and I said about the organization and the planning and stuff like that?
Yep.
He helped me with that. Like, I wouldn't have known what to do.
That's amazing.
If he wasn't there to help me. So there's no amount of thanks that I could give to him that would be, you know,
I mean, you're a great guy, to be honest. So
thank you.
He will know that. He will know that. You don't even have to tell him; he'll already know.
No, he does. No, and I think he does.
Yeah.
And yeah, but you know, I feel like there's nothing I could give back to him that would express the amount of gratitude I feel for what he's done, because he does business for a living. That's what he does. He is a business advisor to big businesses that take a lot of money. Yeah. And he's a very, very busy man. And for him to give up his time, partly he did it for my dad, because they were like really, really good friends. But he's done it obviously as a byfactor of that. He's done that for me, so I'm just incredibly grateful. So that's sort of my inspiration, my heroes. Those 3 people, I guess.
Brilliant.
That have just helped me get to where I am today. Yeah,
and you're a humble guy, so it's great to hear that from you.
Thank you, man. Nice I appreciate that, mate. Thank you.
So, okay, what do people misunderstand the most about this industry? If you went to them and told them what you did, they'd just be like, what?
Rock star lifestyle. It doesn't fucking exist. It's an outdated thing, I guess, that people went, and they still, because of like the 80s and the 90s.
Because of Motley Crue, wasn't it?
It was basically Crew, yeah. Oh, absolutely, because of Crew.
Yeah.
It's just, it did exist back then, and it to an extent, okay, maybe it does exist at the top of the game. Possibly, but not for anyone up to that level. Yeah. There's no such thing as a rock star lifestyle. And I go on tour. I'm a touring engineer for a band called Beneath the Embers. They're a local metal band to Colchester who are just on the brink of getting to that big next stage. They're at the top of the level of the grassroots scene now. Yeah. And they have just made that leap up into the next stage. They're doing their own UK headline tour. They've got a management company behind them now. And in February, we went on tour with Talia, who used to be the Nightwish singer. Okay. And we played in sold out venues up and down the UK and Paris, 1,500 cap venues, and they were openers for Talia. And you know what, even before we went away, we were under no illusions that it was going to be a rock star style thing, but you really realize that there's no such thing as that rock star style life. Not only because of getting cramped into a touring bus where you've got 6 bunk beds that are like little coffins, and and being cramped up with 6 dudes, like, you know, smelly metalheads, you know, eating the cheapest food you can find. You roll up to the venue whenever your loading is. You set up, you sound check, you go backstage for maybe an hour, and then you're back on stage again. That is the rock star thing when you're on the stage. For the boys, obviously I wasn't on the stage, I was behind the sound desk, but it felt great for me to see my mates up there. That's the rock star lifestyle. That is when you're on stage for that half an hour. And then you come off stage and you have to pack away. There's not even any time to sit in a dressing room and get drunk while you have a crew do it for you. You pack up. Like I did some of the packing away. They do their guitars, you know. And then we're in the bus again on the way to the next venue in the next city.
Must be quite, you know, make you quite weary, all of that.
Oh, man, we were knackered by the time we got back. It was real it was only 7 days, but it was hard, man.
I don't think I've used the word weary my entire life. I don't know why that popped out.
There's a first time for everything.
There it is. Yes, I mean, you were on the road all the time, really.
Basically, for the 7 days we were away, we were on the road the whole time. We had 1 day off across the 7 days, and we
slept.
We got drunk in a hotel.
Oh, fair enough.
We had a few beers, and we got 50% off a Pizza Express, so we went for a nice meal. And then, but it was still an early-ish night because, well, for some of us, Clint and Q, who rolled in the van at 2 o'clock in the morning, and then we drove off to the next venue. And even from that up to the headline band, who had some big names playing for them as session musicians, they were the most humble, nicest people in the world. Like shout out to people like Doug Wimbish, Alex Holsworth, Alex Schulp, and Talia herself, who were people like Doug Wimbish, who is the bass player for Living Colour. So like big name band, selling out stadiums, the nicest man you'll ever meet. There's no ego with any of them.
Do you think that's because, again, they're working for their passion? They're working in what they love?
Probably, yeah. And maybe they've just been doing it so long that they meet hundreds and thousands of different people, and they travel in different. It's just life for them. But there's no ego, as in I'm Mr. Whoever, you know, I'm going to look down my nose at you. The nicest, friendliest people. So that sort of whole rock star lifestyle thing is not even a thing, man. So it's that is people
more media than anything.
It is absolutely. That's people misinterpret that the most when I say, oh, I'm going out on tour. They go, oh, that must be like a big party. Nope, it's like the most intense work you've done for like a solid block of like 12, 14-hour days, 7 days in a row, maybe 1 day off. Like, and I know people, I've got a friend, Alex Baker, who's a local guy, but he's a drum tech for like Skindred.
Okay.
And he does teching for a lot of other bands and artists as well. But his band Barefist supported Beneath the Embers in their own tour in Camden. And I was chatting to him about the tour, and I was like, oh man, it's been 7 days, it's really hard. He went, try it for 7 weeks, mate. And that really put it in perspective for me. Like, yeah, you do this for a lot longer than I do. And like, it's, so imagine doing what I've just explained for like 7 weeks. Like it's tough. So there's the rock star lifestyle thing, man. That's gone. Yeah, that's the thing that people most misinterpret. Yeah,
brilliant, great answer, to be honest. After all this sort of touring, or spending time with other guys and working, but also having some laughs, have you got a funny story? Have you got any funny stories you can share that are, you know, legal?
Oh. I'm just trying to think of any I can actually that's not going to drop people in the shit.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I'm going to have to politely decline that question. There's so many stories, but there might be a few people out there that would be really upset with me for sharing, and I might end up not being their sound tech anymore.
No, that's fair enough. I totally get that.
We can't.
In that case, what are your plans for the next year?
The next year, grow. Obviously, have a daughter. She's due in late August, so it will be a lot of it will be spending time with her, getting to grips with having my first child and being a new dad, and kind of adjusting that work-life balance again, because I know for a fact that I'm going to want to spend all of my time with her and watching her grow up. But I also have to, because I'm self-employed, I have to work on the business as well. So my idea, and not to give too many sort of plans away, but I want to be sound teching most nights of the week, and I want to be able to employ somebody full time to work at the studio, to either cover rehearsal sessions or when I'm not available to record bands, to have a recording engineer working here.
Yeah.
And I just take a cut. I'll take a cut of what they do, and they can work in a studio that's fully equipped. They haven't got to supply anything themselves.
No,
For example,
free roam.
Free roam. They can come in and work in a studio, and I will pay them a wage to be here. That's what I want to do.
Cool.
I also want to go out on more tours. So the Beneath the Embers boys, they're growing now, and they are going to be doing a lot more. So I'd ideally be on tour with them.
Them again.
And just grow the business really. More festivals, do more festivals across the summer. Yep. So when touring season's off, festival season's on. So I do a number of little festivals as it is, and do event organisation and promotion and stuff like that. I put on my own shows, and I've organised a beer festival for Wibbler's Brewery this year, who are based in Southminster. And I'm putting on their beer festival on the music side of things. So we've got 3 days of live music with tribute headliners and stuff like that. Yeah. I like to do more of those. They're, as well as like good fun, they're good earners.
Good.
And yeah, just sort of, but mainly like, as well as I've just said about how I'm going to dig in and grow. Yeah. I want to be able to appreciate what I've got as well.
Yeah.
And still enjoy the work. It's really easy to get bogged down in, I've got this gig next, I've got to do this, I've got to be up at X time, and I'm going to get in at whatever time in the morning. And am I going to have enough time to do what I want to do? And I'm still doing something I really enjoy. And sometimes it's good to take a step back and just realise I'm not doing something that I absolutely despise, or someone I absolutely despise. Yeah, man. So as well as spend time with my daughter, be the best dad I can be the best businessman I can be, and be the best sound tech I can be as grateful as I can be as well. That's my plan.
Awesome. That's a great answer. Great
Thank
answer.
you.
Quick 5 questions.
Oh, God.
Best insult you've ever heard?
Best insult I've ever heard?
Yeah.
This isn't very quick fire, is it?
No, anything.
Oh, man, there's so many.
Make one up.
A bell sprout.
That'll do perfectly. Favourite venue?
Favourite venue? Yeah. Electric Ballroom, Camden.
Nice. What band did you see last?
What band did I see last? Offspring at Slandunk.
Oh, awesome. And what band is the best live experience in your eyes?
Ooh, Papa Roach are awesome live.
Yep.
Avenged Sevenfold are absolutely incredible live. Enter Shikari put on a killer show. Foo Fighters,
they're always good.
Best live show I've ever seen, hands down, was Foo Fighters at Milton Keynes Bowl on the Waste in Light tour.
Really?
That was the best live gig I've ever been to in my life.
What made it so amazing?
The performance, man. Dave, just the whole band.
Yeah.
But Dave Grohl is just
the man. He's a showman, isn't he?
But he's so like down to earth about it as well. It's not extravagant.
No, you can imagine him as your uncle or something.
Yeah. He just gets out there and he's him.
Yeah.
But it's just the most enthralling thing you've ever seen. Like it's just unreal. Like he got a pop from the crowd just by drinking a beer.
Yeah, really?
He picked up a beer and he put it to his mouth and he got a cheer. Like, who else gets that? Just for necking a beer. It's mad. So, yeah, the best live show I've ever seen, Foo Fighters Waste in Light tour, Milton Keynes Bowl. Maybe, I think it was like 2012 or something like that. 2012, I think.
Awesome. Well, if Dave Grohl wants to get in touch and tell us about that,
he's more than welcome, man. I'm sure he's a very busy man. But if he wants to contact us, he can jump on the pod.
He can.
Yeah, man.
Cool. Well, I'm going to leave it there, but it's been great talking to you, Josh.
Thank you, man. It's been an absolute pleasure. I really appreciate you coming down.
It has. And thank you.
Thank you very much. Nice one.
If you would like to guest on the podcast, or if you know someone who would, please get in touch via the website www.mortgagesforactors.com, or look for us on our social media, Instagram, Facebook or TikTok.